From a Ugandan minister that wants poor people beaten so they can become rich, to election runoffs in Liberia, South Sudan's alleged dictator, and South Africa's ANC backing the EFF on the removal of the Israeli embassy, we are here to make your Sunday family dinner a little more awkward than it needs to be. It's time for the second take.
It's the Premier League, all on DSTV. All the goals, clashes, and moments. All of Rashford, Salah, and Saka.
Their start is getting better and better and better.
All in HD. Available on all these bouquets to choose from. To watch on all these devices. Get DSTV with an HD decoder, free installation plus 1 month compact for 1,549 Namibian dollars. It's the Premier League, all on DSTV.
Let's get straight into our stories of the week. Ugandan Minister Haruna Kasolo wants poor people to be punished for being poor. He actually said this. In the future, the government could pass a law through the parliament whereby all the lazy, poor people would be given strokes so that they can also learn to work and become rich. You know, Museveni's musketeers never cease to amaze me. Sir, if beating created wealth, then there would be more African millionaires than male rap artists. What I believe is lazy is failing to create and deliver on people-centered policies and grassroots education on finance. What I find lazy is wishing to harm poor people in an economy that you preside over simply because you do not know how to create a healthy society, which may be largely due to an inability to commit to any form of self-awareness that would allow you to see your own humanity in truth and therefore seeing and honoring the humanity of the very people that put you in power, your people. How are you the State Minister for Finance, Planning and Economic Development when all the knowledge you have garnered has left you with the reasoning of a drunk circus animal trainer? Okay, let me be constructive. Honorable Minister, it will do you good to realize the very real possibility of Ugandans ditching those that are seemingly drunk on power for some bottles of Bobby wine. I'll suggest you give it some thought. Let's move on. Liberians went to the presidential polls on Tuesday for a second-round election, also known as a runoff. Now, this was between incumbent President George Weah and his main rival Joseph Boakai, a former vice president. And it was after no candidate got the 50+1% needed to win the first round. You know, I find election runoffs absurd because what is an outright majority? Whatever happened to the winner being the person with the most votes, not the person with what is considered a large enough distance between themselves and number two, also known as the loser? It makes absolutely no sense. Unless, of course, you are Zimbabwe's Robert Mugabe in 2008, because you would then use the runoffs to unleash so much violence that the opposition party would have to withdraw to save lives. A runoff election is like going to a penalty shootout because the scoreline was 1-0 instead of a quote-unquote outright majority. And what is supposed to happen whilst waiting for a runoff? Do the candidates assume that they will belt out the right speech that can turn voters in just a matter of days, even though the voters normally would have had at least a year prior to elections to sit with your manifestos? It's ridiculous. However, I am prepared to support a physical runoff between politicians. Yes, 200 meters, not in order to determine an election winner, more for the sheer joy of seeing politicians that usually do no more than run their mouths, literally running for office. All the best to Liberia. We'll be back after the break.
There's music galore at the VRS Sports Fields come December, when Local Cars Production brings you SA's Mikasa and Paige, along with locals Jared G and DJ Malza on December 2nd. If jazz is more your style, don't miss the smooth sounds of Fujazz, Casey, Letitia, Major Sevenths, Don Vino and Judith Sapuma on the 3rd. You can enjoy each event individually, or you can easily make a weekend of it too. Get your tickets online via eticket.my.na or at the NMH offices in General Muhammad Murtala Avenue in Eros. Brought to you in conjunction with Republicane, Exhibition and Events Warehouse, Yango, DB Audio and the Winter Country Club. See you there!
right, let's continue with our stories of the week. So, South Sudan's President Salva Kiir has sacked his police chief very randomly, and there are assertions that it is because he is trying to protect himself from a military coup. Now, Salva Kiir has been in power since 2011, so some might say he's a dictator, but I think he would prefer to call himself a long-term guardian. It's just smart branding. Now, this wasn't the first time he allegedly acted swiftly out of fear. He once got rid of 35 ministers in one swipe. You know, alleged dictators are very fascinating. If you know that people are plotting against you, your permanent plan surely can't be firing people each time you feel paranoid and just hoping to see another day. It has never worked, and they keep doing it. So I am here to help. Presenting my new and exclusive handbook crafted for African dictators titled How to Know When It's Time to Let Go. I'll read the introduction and the first page if that's okay. I know how you feel. You thought it would last forever. We can't always get what we want. I know that it's hard to accept and therefore it's hard to perceive, but purchasing this book is the first step to your political self-awareness and possibly saving your life. Page 1. Do you find yourself constantly firing people because you have been feeling that they may be plotting against you? Now, this is a rare phenomenon, but most scientists have concluded that it's because you took over a country with the promise of freedom and democracy and instead created a kleptocracy while selfishly enriching yourself and oppressing the people that trusted you with power. The end. Let's move on. The ANC instructed its MPs to support a motion by the EFF to close the Israeli embassy in South Africa and temporarily suspend diplomatic relations. For all their constant bickering, I have to say, it's refreshing to see the ANC and EFF agree on something outside of their shared disdain for the DA. Now, given South Africa's history with apartheid and the fact that their Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Naledi Pandor, called for Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to be arrested, the move to close Israel's embassy just seems to be a natural course of action. Oh, and, you know, the indiscriminate bombing of occupied land. Some South Africans have not only been opposing the government's stance, but are joining IDF forces, which is interesting to say the least, given that there is literally a statue of Nelson Mandela in Palestine. You know, for now, because it's just a matter of time before the statue is bombed for being a human shield. Perhaps not as effective as helpless Palestinian children, but, you know, a shield nonetheless. Plus, Madiba once said, we know too well that our freedom is incomplete without the freedom of the Palestinians. Perhaps that's why Benjamin Netanyahu opted out of attending Nelson Mandela's funeral at the last minute. I guess something about the sovereignty of marginalized people just wasn't kosher enough for Israel's Zionist leadership. Now, Inspective after the break zones in on Jemima Bierkes' opinion on Israel and Palestine. Stay with the second take. As of November 10, 2/3 of primary healthcare facilities and half of all hospitals in Gaza are not functioning, according to the United Nations. And as of November 12, at least 521 people, including 16 medical workers, have been killed in 137 attacks on healthcare in Gaza, the World Health Organization confirmed. There's also been a dozen journalists killed. Now, journalist Jemima Birkus is here with her perspective on Israel and Palestine.
On the Palestine genocide, I'm calling it the genocide. I'm not going to call it a conflict. It's not a conflict. I believe it has exposed the hypocrisy of the West, the countries like Europe, America, that is standing behind Israel, refusing to condemn what is a full-scale genocide raging on in Palestine. People have been so quick to condemn Russia when they invaded Ukraine, and the entire Europe rose up to come to these people's aid. I mean, you know that Poland gave buses. There were planes even for Ukrainian pets, while black students were forced to find their way around. And right now, Palestinians standing alone and the sad thing is that they're standing with minorities. They're standing with Africans who've gone through the colonialism that has been pushed by, in fact, the current, perpetrators, the West, Europe, Americas. So it has really exposed hypocrites for what they are. Eventually, they expose themselves, and it's just about them. It's about their safety. So they stand with Palestine, but at the end of the day, they are really concerned about how this is affecting them. They are making themselves martyrs. So it's a very sad state of affairs, and to see children dying, to see, I don't even know what to say, because at this point, the powerful people are the people that keeps quiet. And that is the saddest thing. So what do you really say? Do you even have hope? What do you have hope for? And I'm sorry to say, but often I wonder, where is God in this? Because you always wonder, where is God when all of this is happening? Where is God when, like right now, in DRC, in Mozambique, where is God? Why is it that people that have had it all, they just continue to have it all? Why is it that people that they just don't seem to get any form of, they're not given they never get to answer for anything that they've done. So I don't know really what to say, because you just look at what's unfolding, you are hopeless. I mean, we're really truly hopeless. Our hands are cut off, because the very people that should call this to order, and I also wonder, why is it that the West gets to play such a huge morality, why do they get to be why do they get to have the biggest say when it comes to these kind of things, when they in fact are the perpetrators? I mean, since the very day they've been the perpetrators. We know that they've been the perpetrators. They were the people that invaded Africa. They were the people that plundered Africa. Why is it that they never get to answer? So I really, to be honest, I really don't, my heart bleeds for Palestine. As a descendant of the Nama genocide, I can't even begin to imagine what they've gone through, because I can see the repercussions in Namibia, how these two communities are still marginalized. After what has happened, they are landless. Now imagine there's a full-scale genocide going on there. A child that's left without any single relative, and without an arm, without a limb. Where is such a child going to end up? What kind of adult will such a child be? And where will this child live? So these are I don't even know what kind of questions I should ask myself. Your mind just hits a blank where it's so sad. It's especially for an African, it really hits close to home, because our people keep on suffering. People just come and plunder, they just take, and there's really nothing you can do, because you're the weakest link. Palestine right now it's not even a link anymore. So imagine what's the future of the Palestinian children, what is the Palestinian future? Is there what will remain? What's going to happen after this? And the sad thing is that, yes, if there's going to be a ceasefire, it's going to be the opportunists that will once again be the victors. And then we said, the UN is going to announce, yes, this has happened. People will pat themselves on the back that, yes, we've contributed to this. And the same people will close their borders to the Palestinian people that are looking for refuge. The same people will close their borders to the Palestinian children that are looking for welfare, for school, for a place to live. So I don't know. It is sad.
That is Hernam's perspective. Heartwarming moment of the week after the break.
Taking care of children can be one of the busiest jobs in the world. That's why CrècheGuard is here to give you a little help along the way. Start the day with CrècheGuard's immune syrup to help build a strong immune system. CrècheGuard also offers other tasty supplements, such as omega-3 chews to support brain development. And for healthy little tummies, look for CrècheGuard's range of probiotics that come in drops, sprays, and delicious choc bars. Trust in CrècheGuard every day for healthy little bodies and developing minds.
The next days are not a measurement of time, but the distance from here to the finish line. For the race you are running, for your kids, your career, your health, your future. Not away, but towards it. While the voice in your head reminds you it won't be easy. But by simply swinging your feet towards the floor, you've taken the first step. Grow for it with Stamino Grow. 5-in-1 supplement available at all leading pharmacies.
Welcome to the heartwarming moment of the week. In a stirring display of environmental stewardship, the Kenyan government's call for action prompted a response from the residents of Nairobi. See, Monday marked a significant occasion as the government declared it a public holiday, urging citizens to join forces in planting 100 million trees across the nation. President William Ruto's ambitious pledge to cultivate 15 billion trees by 2032 aims to bolster Kenya's forest cover, a crucial initiative following a devastating 40-year drought in the Horn of Africa. Despite relentless rainfall, civil servants, students, and families united across various locations in Nairobi to participate in this noble endeavor. Now, Joanna Kereka, a dedicated government official, shared her sentiment after planting approximately 50 trees, emphasizing the initiative's urgency in the wake of consecutive severe droughts. Her hope echoed the sentiments of many, a desire for the annual commemoration of this event, not merely as a public holiday, but as a poignant reminder to prioritize environmental care and nurture our precious planet. This collective effort embodies a remarkable step towards safeguarding the environment and fostering a sustainable future for generations to come. After the break, we head over to our TikTok of the week.
Neo Paints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neo Paints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neo Paints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
Newsprint Namibia is a web offset printing operation that specializes in the printing of newspapers and commercial inserts. We are the leaders in our industry, with the highest quality print work and the shortest turnaround time from computer to print and delivery anywhere in the country daily. Newsprint was established mainly as a newspaper print company, but had to diversify its business to do commercial printing as required in the market. We print commercial inserts previously printed in South Africa in the shortest possible time. We, as an organization, also started printing workbooks for our education system and will also print textbooks for the Namibian market. For more information, please contact print@newsprint.com.
It's time to get into our TikTok of the week. Now, for those of you who are new to the show, the TikTok of the week is not based on the TikToks that were created just in the past week. They're strictly based on me seeing them on my timeline in the past week. With that in mind, here is a hilarious TikTok by Forever Joey taking us through a corrupt president's first day on the job.
Congrats, Mr. President.
Thank you. What's this?
A copy of what you promised the nation.
Oh, I almost forgot. Thanks.
So when do you start fixing the roads?
What roads?
You promised to construct new roads.
Oh, you mean the roads to my financial success? When can we get a loan from the IMF?
In some weeks' time.
Good, set it up. What's number 2 on the list?
Number 2, you promised the nation.
First of all, there was no pinky swear, so there's no evidence of promise. Therefore, take off that word and replace it with trick.
You tricked the nation that with free healthcare and education.
Let me ask you one question. Do you see me waving a wand around here?
No, Mr. President.
Good. As you can see, I am not a very good father. Nothing in this world is free.
But Mr. President, these are...
What's the next trick before I fire you? My presidential ego is boosted.
You tricked the nation you would increase job salaries.
Are you sure I wasn't drunk?
That's been our TikTok of the week. We're going to sign off with the global take after the break. The Middle East has dominated the weekly news cycle, understandably so. The recent development has been Israel bombing the Al-Shifa hospital because they allege that Hamas is using humans as shields. These human shields include newborn babies and suffering patients. Throughout this conflict, there has been calls to condemn all the violence from both Hamas and Israel, rightfully so. So before I continue, I absolutely unreservedly condemn Hamas. The attack should have never happened and the hostages should be freed. However, the debate on whether or not it is justifiable for Israel to bomb hospitals has been nothing short of mind-boggling. At what point did it become justifiable to kill children in hospitals? Many countries in the world have been calling for a ceasefire. The United Nations has condemned the attacks and released multiple reports of journalists being killed by IDF attacks. I get that this is classified as a war, but it seems like there is only one active army, and that army has some of the most advanced technology and tactics, yet they do not know how to attack targets without killing thousands of innocent people in the process. The same army has military commanders that have referred to Palestinians as human animals. They have military leadership that has publicly discussed the option of nuking Palestine. There are 2 countries involved, yet Benjamin Netanyahu has openly displayed maps that do not have Palestine on them. There are 2 countries at conflict, yet one has occupied the other since 7 June 1967. To argue that self-defense is killing 11,000 people in a country you occupy is unreasonable. And if you believe that it isn't, there's a strong chance that you have never known what it means to have another country dictate your livelihood whilst dehumanizing you, calling you human animals, for example. For Africans, this is a story that is all too familiar. For the over 300 Holocaust survivors who have called for a ceasefire, this story is all too familiar. Perhaps it's time to see all victims as your kin and all aggression as deplorable. Perhaps it's time to care for all human life. My name is Ashwin Berry, and that is my second take.